You said we're good to go, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Call to order. Welcome to the Town of Newington Conservation Commission meeting for August 15th, 2023. It is 7 p.m. Ms. Givens, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ancona,
Here.
Commissioner Bashand,
Here.
Commissioner Conway,
Here.
Commissioner DeHaas,
Here.
Commissioner Paskowitz,
Here.
Chairman Sadil,
Here.
Commissioner Wagner,
Here.
Commissioner Lamette.
No substitutes tonight, so we have all seated commissioners. Thank you. Okay, item 3, public participation, non-agenda items. Each speaker limited to 2 minutes. Mr. Hinckley, do we have anyone online who wishes to speak?
There is no one, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to acceptance of minutes, approval of minutes from the regular meeting of January 17th, 2023. Do I have any additions or corrections from the commission? Seeing none, we have a motion to accept the meeting minutes as written from the regular meeting of January 17th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Bashant. May I have a second? Second by Vice Chairman Wagner. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're against? Abstentions? The minutes pass. Okay, moving on to item 5, new business application 2023-08 for a building addition and rain garden within the Upland Review area at Maple Hotel, 2151 Berlin Turnpike, Newington, Connecticut. Applicant owner contact, and excuse me, Ganeshayam Patel, if I pronunciation on the first name. Is the applicant present?
I believe their representative is.
Good evening. For the record, Kevin Johnson. I'm a landscape architect with the engineering firm of Close, Jensen and Miller. With me this evening is Mr. Ed Diamond, project architect, as well as the owner and applicant, Mr. Ganesham Patel. So if we could bring up the site plan. So just a quick orientation with the site plan. It's located at, subject property is located at 2151 Berlin Turnpike.
Pardon, can we zoom in on that area? I do have the paper copy, but yeah, it will.
Better for everyone?
Barely. That was my complaint to Eric earlier, that the plan seems to be much smaller than I'm used to. Is this, or is it just me?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Well, the site survey encompasses the entire property. This is just a portion of the property,
I understand.
the actual site plan.
Please continue, sir.
Okay, so again, this is located at 2151 Berlin Turnpike on the west side. Direction north is to the top of the sheet, as well as Bolarama is the abutting property owner to the north. The southbound lanes of the Berlin Turnpike would be to the right. The heavy dark blue line represents the wetland limits from town mapping. It looks black on this plan, but the other heavy dark line represents the 100-foot upland review area. The light brown, and again, it looks like it's a little washed out, but there's several buildings on the property. Part of where it says existing 2-story frame, that's actually the owner's residence. What he's proposing to do is to add a dining room on the south side of that wing, the residence wing, as well as a 1-car garage just to the left of the existing frame garage. He's also proposing to construct a covered roof structure over an existing patio that connects the garage to the residential quarters. There you go.
Might make it a little easier to see the difference.
right? On this plan, the light brown represents the existing structure. The dark brown are the proposed additions. And I was just mentioning the small square between the garage and the residential quarters represents the covered patio. And then there's two small proposed canopy overhangs. They project off the north face of the building about 30 inches, one over each doorway. And those doorways lead to the existing driveway. So the proposed garage and proposed dining room addition, it equals a little over 600 additional square feet of impervious surface. Again, the covering over the patio, that patio area is already impervious. Our office ran hydraulic computations on that impervious area. And for a 100-year design storm, we determined that we needed to mitigate for that additional runoff from that new impervious surface. We needed to create some detention for about 13 cubic feet, not 13 cubic yards, 13 cubic feet, so about half a yard. So what we decided to do was to create a yard drain just to the southwest of the garage, plant that with some native shrubs, some native grasses, the roof drainage from the new dining room and garage will discharge to that rain garden. We have riprap at the two discharge points. We developed a maintenance plan for that rain garden. For erosion controls, that heavy black line represents a compost-filled filter sock. Basically, it would wrap around the limits of disturbance. Just to the right of the rain garden, there's a dashed line oval that represents a temporary topsoil stockpile. We've got erosion and sedimentation control narrative for both during construction as well as post-construction. We have zero impacts to the wetlands. Again, as I mentioned, those wetlands were taken from town mapping, and that's the heavy blue line. And you'll see almost coincident with that heavy blue line is a fence. That's an existing fence. So that really precludes any access to the wetlands anyways. Within the upland review area, as I mentioned, the light green, that represents existing grassed areas, and we're disturbing, again, on a temporary basis, about 3,000 square feet of existing lawn area. We are in receipt of staff comments, memo dated August 1st, 2023. We did go through those comments. We revised the plans, developed a response letter resubmitted to staff on August 8th with revised plans.
Excuse me, were any of those actions wetland related?
Not that I recall, not directly.
No, they were general engineering comments,
Yeah.
you know, BMP kind of stuff, and there was a couple of wetland comments that they addressed. Just, you know, I wanted to put on there that they had checked the National Diversity Database and just add a note on there that there were no species of concern, et cetera, those kinds of things. Just kind of housekeeping notes, the maintenance plan, which he provided.
Okay. Can I stop for some questions, or you had some more?
No, that's the end of my presentation. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So as far as the driveway is concerned, what is the addition to the driveway? That up to the left, the upper corner there, is the newer extension of the?
There is a small extension of the existing bituminous driveway there just to facilitate the backing out movement from the garage. And I apologize, I meant to point that out. To mitigate for that, we included a stone infiltration trench right along the edge of the drive. So the idea being, you know, any runoff, you know, from that additional bituminous would have an opportunity to infiltrate into that trench.
What about the wetland itself? That's a very heavily wooded area. What would you say is the condition of that wetland? Can you describe it to me, or is there water standing there? Is there connectivity there? Can you describe the state of that wetland on a typical
Yeah, I, be honest with you, I have not gone into that wetland. I have not walked that wetland. I'm not a soil scientist, so
Mr. Chairman, if I may just quickly, as he pointed out, it is fenced, and the lines that are used there are consistent with past site plans and wetland applications that this property has come in for in the past. I don't know if there was a prior evaluation. I don't believe so.
This picture kind of shows it, if you
I
have
mean,
this.
yes.
That's where I'm kind
So
of.
that, so I was sort of looking at a fall picture in fall,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you take aerial shots, that is a fairly
Yep.
wooded area. I'm interested, what's the state of that wetland, what's its condition? There is to the left a fairly drop off. I see some drafting lines to the left of that blue line. Does that imply a very steep
basically the
embankment?
topography drains from both directions towards that wetlands.
Is that the current state right now? How is the surface runoff done before and after? Can you explain that, or is that?
Basically, it just sheet flows or infiltrates, but the contours, it generally slopes from east to west or right to left to the wetlands.
Okay.
We're maintaining those existing drainage patterns.
I am concerned, you mentioned about the perimeter erosion control. I'd like to go through that because given the steep embankment there, I don't know how long this project's gonna take. But can you go over again, is that gonna be a filter sock? Is that gonna be a robust enough erosion control method? Because once the area is cleared, there's some inclement weather and whatnot that happens. Is that gonna be robust enough to have anything going down slope?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's very gentle slopes. We don't envision, any regrading per se drastically. We are pulling that one contour around the garage, obviously to create level floor there. But I think the idea would be to build the dining area first. So come in the site drive around the existing garage, and then stabilize that area before they built the garage. And again, we will be disturbing, quote unquote, an existing area of grass for the topsoil and to create the rain garden, but we're not envisioning ripping up that entire existing lawn area. So a lot of that grass is going to remain there. It's basically an arbitrary line where we put the filter sock. So I don't think we need anything, heavy duty, like silt fence backed up with a hay bale dam or, in our opinion, I think the filter sock is going to be adequate.
Well, it's just the rain garden, again, that's gonna be a sheet flow situation. There's nothing plumbed or anything going underground. It's just strictly sheet flow going into the rain garden.
It's basically, just a depression and it's 3-to-1 slopes graded into that. So, and then it's going to be planted with native grasses and
No invasives? No.
No. And as
Okay.
part of the maintenance, I did add a line there. Any invasive plantings which may migrate into the garden, should be, not sprayed with herbicides, just hand pulled. And bittersweet's a big problem. That's something, you can just pull it out and leave it on the ground. It's going to die.
As far as the maintenance itself, is that gonna self-be maintained? Is it gonna have to be mowed every so often or?
I'm calling for it to be, basically, be basically mowed, the perennials, herbaceous perennials, as part of the mix, be cut once a year, remove, the cuttings and so forth, just so they don't build up over time and then you'll lose any of the capacity of the rain garden for the storage as well. I mean, that's the general idea.
And the,
Mr. Chairman, I put again, it's a little hard to read, but I put again, you can see it's red osier dogwoods, common spice bush, and maple leaf viburnum, pretty common plants that are used in wetland plantings. And again, they do have the rain garden maintenance plan on the plan itself.
And I tried to
revised
pick,
plans, we
some,
didn't push them out to you.
I'm sorry. I tried to pick some species, that were, that could provide, forage, and cover for birds and so forth.
I'm gonna open up to other commissioners at this time. Commissioner Wagner?
Commissioner Wagner, I got a couple questions. Can we go back to the parking lot or the driveway? Zoom in on that a little. How close is that? My first question is, how close is that driveway to the wetland, line there, the wetland limits, right there, the blue line?
The extension right there?
Yeah, is it?
Well,
Up on the
basically,
north side,
yeah, well, basically it goes right up to the edge of the fence.
okay. All right, and then how's the grade of that driveway? Is it going towards the stone on the side, or is that the only stone on the left side or the west side? Is there any on the north or the northwest side?
Yeah, I mean, you can see, the finished floor of the garage there is 284/35. So the idea of that contour would sheet towards the stone trench, and then you got the 283/4 would maintain those grades, and then the 282/9. So it would generally go towards the northwest a little bit, as well as clip the radius part of that.
So what I'm
trench.
saying is, like, you see, you have your trench or the stone on the left, on the west side. Is there any stone up on the northwest side and north side, right up there?
No,
Okay.
because you have the fence right there. There really is
Okay, there's no room.
no
There's just no curbing there.
curbing.
All right,
It's just flush.
those are my 2 questions. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Bouchard.
Just out of curiosity, is the dining room addition on a slab?
Yes.
And then I have from your own notes, it refers to and you reiterated that the 13 cubic feet of storage for the rain garden, but then it goes on to say that 19.2 cubic yards of material has to be removed to construct a rain garden.
We just made it a little bigger,
Made what bigger?
the rain garden. I mean, it's not even a cubic yard.
No, but I'm saying you're going from a half a cubic yard to 19 cubic yards of material to be removed in the last paragraph of this wetlands application.
Oh.
Is that a typo or?
That's a typo.
I was gonna say, I didn't know if that was
No.
all the excavation on the site or if that was a dug
No,
foundation
no.
for the addition.
No, it should be 19.2 cubic feet.
Oh, okay.
Which it says on this plan, if you look, where the leader goes in, it says 19.2 cubic feet and 13 cubic feet.
Okay.
If I said cubic yards, that's a mistake.
And
Oh, that's a mistake. Cubic
Okay.
feet.
okay,
I'm sorry.
I was just curious.
Good catch.
Yeah, I mean,
That was a test.
I'm relatively impressed with the efforts taken. I don't have any other questions.
Any other commissioners have questions? Commissioner Haas?
No, you guys have covered that
Okay.
pretty well.
Let's go to the folks on the phone. Commissioner Paskowitch, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I do not. Thank you, Chairman Sedell.
Thank you. Commissioner Conway?
No, I have no further questions.
Thank
Thank you.
Welcome. Commissioner Ancona?
Hope I'm all set. Thanks.
All right,
I also see Mr. Wemmett is now online.
okay,
I don't know when he came in, but I do know.
all right, noted. Commissioner Wemett, do you have any comments for the applicant? Questions?
No, I'm all set.
All right, thank you. All right, that's no other further questions. I guess the first order, Mr. Hinckley, the need for a public hearing, right? We have to come to a consensus if there's a need for a public hearing. I want to waive that if there's other commissioners feel that way for a public hearing.
I agree. I mean, the entire project is out of view of the public and plus it's that most of that upland review is already developed anyway. So.
Commissioner Wagner, I agree with both of you. There's no need for it.
All right. So, anyone on the phone wish to comment on a public hearing?
No, I believe that we could go forward with what I've heard so far. This is Commissioner Paskowitch. Thank you.
All right, I think we have a majority then on that, so we have a motion for application 2023-08 for a building addition in a rain garden within the upland review area at Maple Hotel, 2151 Berlin Turnpike, Newington, Connecticut. Applicant owner contact Ganeshayam Patel for the need of a public hearing. Ms. Bass, do you want to?
I make a motion.
This activity will have no significant impact to the regulated area, will not require a public hearing. May I have a second?
Commissioner Wagner seconds that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously, no public hearing.
Alright. So now you will see them next month
Yep, under old business.
under old business. Yeah.
Okay. All right, do I have to announce them in item 6 again for old business?
No, you don't have.
All right, we'll waive that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move straight to item 7, public participation on non-agenda items. Speaker limited to 2 minutes. Mr. Hinckley, do we have anyone online?
Mr. Chairman, there is no one online.
Moving on to item 8, communications and reports. Mr. Hinckley, do you have agent communications?
I do. So in the intervening months that we haven't met, I have approved a few agent approval wetland applications. One was at 25 Payne Road for the car wash, where they extended a little bit of mechanicals on 2 of their tunnels there. It just came out like 4 feet with some new mechanicals. It was all in the upper review area. Basically, it was on already paved and concrete. Another application for a deck at the new house at 765 Willard Avenue, which you guys had approved a couple of years ago. The house, so this was for the deck. They didn't have it on the original approval. Another approval was at 120 Northwood Road for a shed in the URA. And lastly, there was an approval for a deck around a pool in the URA at 25 Stonewall Court, and also for the replacement of an existing shed that was priorly approved. So those 4 applications have been approved in the interim. That's really all I have. There is the potential of the MDC coming forth with some kind of large-scale maintenance project in the town, which they did on something similar 6 or 7 years ago. So they will probably be coming before you presenting some type of plan and asking for a declaratory ruling on what portions they can do as of right, what may require a permit, et cetera. So we do expect something the next couple of months on that.
Do they get like a general permit 1, 2, like the town has?
No, they get, MDC always gets a permit.
Individual
That's
permit
been the case in the past.
for a time period or for just?
I mean, they'll get the permit and it's good for the statutory time that it's allowed, and, you know, and they kind of designate, hey.
But for individual projects?
I mean, it'll be a permit for this project in Newington,
Okay.
and they're gonna have some.
Different sites. It's not all in one site.
Correct. They'll have some timelines. Hey, you know, we might be working the southwest part of town these 2 months, and yada, yada, yada. And this is in preparation of potential clearing of easements for future maintenance to their sanitary lines. So, other than that, that is all I have.
Other than I would like to introduce myself to those I have not met yet, and those online. I'm Paul Dixon. I'm the new town planner for Newington. So I'm glad to meet you all, those I haven't met, and look forward to continue working with you all.
Not even all that new now, right?
Yeah,
Been a few months already.
A few months under my belt, still new to you. So. But yes. Yeah, and I, previously I served, I worked on wetlands when I was in Groton, and then for a little under 7 years, I was the wetland agent for the city of Merida.
So got backup.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
How is our former, your coworker from Meriden?
She's well.
Yeah, she's teaching now, right?
Yep.
Okay.
She's got her passion, which is great.
Oh, good.
All right, moving on to section B, town council liaisons, communications. I think Councilor Rada and Patrico are occupied.
They are in
This evening,
executive
so-
session next door.
Yeah, so moving on to section C, pond life research and education. Commissioner Paskowitz, do you have an update for us?
Well, in a way, yes. How many of you, I'm gonna ask this question, have walked around Mill Pond in the last few years during any hours of the day and noticed our resident blue heron?
Yeah. I have, yes.
And it's been parking itself to the Mill Falls area in kind of a hidden area, and also to the outflow of the bridge of where the brook is. So being curious about ornithology and birds and such, I happened upon the eating habits of heron. I have never seen this heron eat or look for food in the water since I've been living here and observed this blue heron. Nonetheless, looking into the research of the eating habits of a blue heron, they are of a bird species that binge. They engorge themselves. Their eating habits are not to satisfy their nutritional needs. They just go at it as if somebody gave you a pizza on a Friday night and said, eat one slice. You think you could do it? I don't know. It's kind of difficult. Nonetheless, there was a video on this which pertained to a heron actually was choking themselves trying to eat a whole animal at once, and its throat was actually expanded out. It was interesting that, animals also will binge and not just eat for nutritional value, as some humans do when they go out. Nonetheless, that's what I have to speak on tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll just give my one anecdote on the blue heron, that same one. I was laying on my hammock the night of the extravaganza, right, just when the first firework, when they signal they're gonna start, and I saw him he was flying right over my house, heading out of there, I'm thinking, and he was like looking back, I was thinking to myself, yeah, he's not coming back tonight.
No, of course. Yeah.
And I'll say, I've seen them while walking around the pond, that area that they're like just, I guess that'd be just south of actually the walking bridge. Kind of when you get the pond proper, but the actually wetland that's feeding it behind.
He hangs out there a lot.
And actually that area I've seen a lot of different, especially turtles.
Yeah,
They've been
turtles.
spawning well, within that area, and there was a whole bunch of just family, which is great. So there has, I've seen some good life in that pond, which is fantastic.
I always just see him singular, I never see him in pairs, I don't know if I don't know that much about them and all the rest of their habits, but it's interesting to see them taking off, how much space they need, how much open area they need to get airborne.
Okay. Item 9, motion to adjournment. I have a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Wagner.
We don't want to leave, it's been so
Do
long.
I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeHaas, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
So you're saying we do have a meeting next month?